So, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to rather enjoy playing both video games and tabletop RPGs. The freedom of escaping into a fantasy world of any form really helps not just to relieve a lot of the stress of everyday life, but also they allow you to explore deeply personal as well as deeply philosophical questions about yourself, about society, and about your friends. Often, within these circles, though, one thing is commonly accepted, that tabletop RPGs are just better. That is, they're better at facilitating the ability to roleplay. You have significantly more freedom in your choice of action. At any given moment, you can do any given thing. You're still constrained by things like logical distance and time. Obviously, your D&D fighter today dealing with a lich isn't going to be able to go back in time and take an ancient wizard who already defeated him and bring them into the fight. At least, not very easily. But I've recently come to question this premise. Are tabletop games actually better than video games when it comes to allowing you to roleplay? You see, I play a lot of games. Total War Warhammer, Skyrim, Crusader Kings 2, Minecraft, Stellaris, and all of these games have you playing different roles. All of them have you being different people within different realities. And I realized something. When I'm playing these games, I'm playing a role. I'm getting into the mind of who I'm supposed to be. What fun is Skyrim if you're just running around, not trying to be some kind of person, not considering the actions you're taking? The least exciting parts of Skyrim are the parts where you're just in a dungeon fighting monsters. No, the parts that are most engaging, at least for me, of any game, are where you're given choices. The parts where you're asked who you are and asked to input that into the world. Role-playing is an inherent part of any game. Your input is what makes the game function, makes the game work. And that input is always done as part of a role, at least when it's a game that gives you decisions. Obviously, in Overwatch or Call of Duty, there's significantly less opportunities for role-playing. But even then, you'll see people do it. There are entire channels dedicated to this. One of the best known periods in internet gaming history, the what I would call era of machinima, was all about people role-playing. It got popular off of series like Red vs. Blue, where all people were doing were playing the roles of characters within a video game.
Rest in peace, Pinky Toe.
You shall be avenged.
But okay, tabletop RPG players will often object to such things, saying that what makes a tabletop RPG better is obviously going to be the ability to change things on the fly. The moment-by-moment ability to just hand-wave away the rules. There are no rules in D&D for praying to your god for a miracle. There never have been, to the best of my knowledge. But most games that I've played, when the players are in a desperate situation, if they had a cleric or a paladin or some other deeply religious character, they were given the opportunity to pray to their gods. In part because, of course, the storyteller is enjoying the game as well, and they don't want to ruin it. But also because, on a intuitive level, this just feels right. Why would a god allow their follower, and not just any follower, one with such a deep magical connection to them, why would they allow this person to die or to fail? Within a strict mechanical set of rules, this is literally impossible, and computers are very strict with their rules. These are perfect machines. That is to say, they're set up with a line of code that's unable to be changed, or so you might think. Let's look at that list of games again. Skyrim, Total War Warhammer, Stellaris, Crusader Kings 2, Minecraft. All of these games have something in common. These are all games that are heavily modded, and what players, tabletop RPG players, often cite as the thing that makes tabletop RPGs better for role-playing and better for individual immersive experience. What they say makes their games better than video games is called modability, the ability to circumvent the rules of the creator in exchange for your very own rule set. For almost as long as there's been video games, there have been passionate players who have decided that they wanted to change the rules of the game to fit more their own wants and needs. The oldest mods I can think of are the map packs that I used to get for Quake, being able to explore different worlds and areas from other people's minds. It was this genuinely interesting and fun experience. But over time, mods have become more and more common. More people have been learning to code, to program, to design, to create entire new games and worlds nestled inside of games and worlds, most of which we don't even know exist. Minecraft, a game mostly about placing blocks down to build a shitty dirt house, has mods for it that can turn it into a first-person shooter, a zombie horror game, have it set within a massive megacity, have it set on the moon, have it set within fantasy medieval Europe, allow you to cast magic, to teleport between dimensions. There are even videos where people play something closer to Superliminal, a game that's all about shifting perspective, moving and resizing objects within Minecraft. And it was here that I came to question whether or not tabletop games are really that exceptional. Now, tabletop gamers, they might say, well, that's like buying a supplement for your D&D games. You can go to Green Ronin and get all sorts of new classes, races, characters, items, settings. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about on the fly, in the moment, changing the rule, creating new systems out of whole cloth. But I think that this ignores something rather big that happens specifically because of the age of the internet. You see, when something is created on the internet, it stays around for a while. Do you want to play a survival game? Well, if you already own Minecraft, you have a bit of one. How about including thirst, temperature? Well, those mods exist. Those are things you can just, in a moment, slot into your game. What about less hardcore elements? What if I want to play an adventure game where I'm not really worried about hunger at all? Well, believe it or not, there are mods that help with that. You can remove the survival system from Minecraft and add in dungeons and kingdoms and quests. In a recent panel that I hosted over on my Twitch stream, someone mentioned that instantaneous actions can be more creative in a tabletop RPG. Use the example of somebody shaping stone to create a furnace, to modify their weapons and armor, in a couple of rounds of actions in combat. But for those who have played Minecraft before, you'll know that this is entirely possible. With some mods, there are particularly tough enemies that perhaps you'll have to spend a few minutes avoiding while you re-prepare yourself to fight. Ideas don't die on the internet. They don't just go away. And because of the collective creation of mods and various games, I think still that video games may not have entirely overcome the adaptability problem, but have to a large degree done so in a way that removes any meaningful adaptability problem. This has been through a collaborative effort, not an intentionally collaborative one, but a collaborative one nonetheless, on behalf of the entire internet full of passionate individuals. But alright, now we have to talk about the second problem. That tabletop role-playing is an inherently social experience. That no video game, or most video games, can't replace this. Tabletop RPGs are collaborative, and many good video games are solo experiences. The Witcher, Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption, all of these games with these deep role-playing moments, they're all individual experiences. They can't be shared with friends. But can't they? Aren't they? You have the option to play The Witcher alone, but how often is it that you find yourself online wanting to talk to your friends about it? To share these moments with people? I am in a lot of Bethesda gaming forums, Skyrim, Fallout. I'm in a lot of other gaming forums as well. Ark Survival Evolved, Minecraft, all of these amazing games. And I play solo. I don't team up with other people, but I still socialize. It's still an inherently social experience for me. I play Ark and Skyrim and Minecraft and all of these other games, and I play them alone. But they're still social experiences, because then I go on to social media and I share what I'm doing. Sure, we're not all collaboratively contributing to one distinct, unique world, but we are creating something social. If you want to game with friends and entirely just playing solo games, you can do so. There have even, once again, been mods created to make games like Skyrim into multiplayer games. I know that Skyrim Together fell on hard times, and I hope someone picks up a project like that again. But even games that you might not think of as collaborative, games like RimWorld, have been given multiplayer mods. For months, I played RimWorld with people on stream. I controlled a majority of the colony, each of them playing characters there within. And this is part of what made me question it. Made me question whether or not tabletop RPGs were really so different in their ability to create these moments. You see, in tabletop RPGs, I was also playing a solo experience. I play World of Darkness most often, and within this game, each player has their own motivation, their own reason for being and doing. Sure, each of us collaborated on the same world. We all moved things and affected things together, but it was through these individual motivations, these individual stories, that we created a collaborative, better game. It was because of the things we did alone that when we came together, magic was created. If we would have only followed the storyteller's story, as one might accidentally do with the main quest in a video game, then the experience wouldn't have been half as fun. But it was through the individual role-playing of those involved that we were able to create a pretty amazing collaborative experience. And I think the same can be done for video games. So if you've ever said that tabletop role-playing games are better than video games for role-playing, I want you to stop and think, is this the case? Or am I simply more willing to role-play in a tabletop game?